Good morning, ma'am and classmate. I am Julius Bersinfuego, together with Brian Santos, Noel Sebonga, and Giancarlo to discuss Chapter 10, The Lobsters Quadrille. To start this discussion, I would like to call on Mr. Tagibulos Giancarlos to give us a recap on the previous chapter.
So, right before we focus on the chapter 10 of Alice in the Wonderland, here are the major plot points that has occurred on the previous chapter, which is the chapter 9. And through that, Alice and the Duchess, who's been reprieved from execution, took a stroll around the garden together until the Queen commands Alice to return to the game. And when the game dissolves, because of the Queen has put all the players under sentence of death, the Queen takes Alice to meet the Griffon, who later introduces Alice to the Mock Turtle. And then, the Mock Turtle dolefully tells Alice a long and sad story about his education until the Griffon interrupts and says, "Tell her something about the games." So, in summary, after the disappearance of the Cheshire Cat, the croquet game starts up again and the Duchess takes Alice's arm. The two started to walk, and Alice became uncomfortable that the Duchess hold her so close. Alice thinks that the Duchess is behaving pleasantly because there isn't any pepper that is present. So here we have the key characters for the chapter 10. First is Alice, a 7-year-old girl, and also the main protagonist of the story. She has an insatiable curiosity about her environment and her surroundings, and constantly being challenged by the wonderland and those who resides in it. Second, we have the mock turtle. He has a very sad and melancholy personality, who usually reminisces his school days and the day when he was once a turtle. And lastly, we have the Griffon, a servant of the Queen of Hearts, who later befriends Alice and the one who guided her to meet the Mock Turtle.
The mock turtle is all choked up from sobbing, and the griffin shows Alice how he beats the turtle's back to help him clear his throat. The turtle recovers and tells Alice, since she has never lived in the sea, about a dance called the lobsters quadrille. He explains that the first thing to do is line up along the shore, two lines, one for sea creatures and one for lobsters. And then the partner must step forward each other. It begins like a square dance but quickly becomes very elaborate, with lobsters being flung into the sea. So this is the start of chapter 10. It starts up with the mock turtle continues crying about his previous traumas, reveals his deeply emotional side, and that the lobster quadrille is another civilized activity, a dance that ends in unexpected violence. At this point, the mock turtle gets very excited and proposes to show Alice the dance. The griffin nominates the turtle to sing. They begin dancing around Alice, occasionally treading on her toes, and the turtle sings mournfully about awaiting and the snail dancing the lobster's quadrille. When it's over, Alice politely compliments them the song. The turtle asks if she knows about waiting. She narrowly avoids telling him that she has eaten wheating before. The griffin explained that they always have their tails in their mouth because they insist on flying out to sea with the lobster. In this part of the chapter, Alice is learning to navigate social situations, to read between the lines, and to recognize what will and will not make others unpleasant and uncomfortable. She know what to say. It was a very interesting dance, even though she is relieved it is over. Also compared her realization to avoid saying that she has eaten meeting before to her earlier insensitivity. May I call on Mr. Noel Cebuanga to continue the story?
Hi, my name is Noel Sabonga, and I am one of the representatives in this group that will be discussing to you about what happened in the chapter 10, the lobsters quadrille, and the Alice in the Wonderland. So, in this case, this is all about the lobster quadrille. So Mac Turtle and the Gryphon tells Alice that the lobster quadrille is the name of the dance which they used to perform when they were younger and went to school under the sea. So technically, there was a lot of confusion to Alice in this case that mm, might be like might be having misunderstanding between the mock turtle and the griffin and to Alice. So even though also the turtle asks if she knows about things, so she narrowly avoids telling him that she has eaten withing before. So yeah, and the Gryphon has a lot more to say about the Witting. So it tells Alice that it is called a Witting because it does have boots and shoes, and she figures her own shoes must have been done by blocking shoes under the sea or different, says the Gryphon, and they were made of soles and eels. And Alice goes back to the song in which the porpoise is always pleading on the Whiting's tail. So the Mock Turtle tells her wisely that no Whiting ever travels without a purpose. So purpose. It is a purpose, by the way. And Alice thinks this is dubious, and the Gryphon changes the subject and asking Alice about her adventure. Because yeah, they changed the subjects because they know that Alice wasn't understanding them at all even though they were explaining. So in this instance, um, it seems to be amplifying that Gryphon and Mac Turtle might be more authentic friends for Alice. And in the next scenario, Alice says she can describe her adventure from morning, but that yesterday she was a different person entirely, and the Gryphon wishes only to hear the adventures. So explanations bore him. So Alice tells them both the story from the beginning. So they listen intently, and they were very interested in the part about the caterpillar, and they tell her to recite another rhyme so to see if she has forgotten it, and Alice is getting quite fed up with animals ordering her about she tries it, and it comes out that all mixed up and uncommon nonsense. um the turtle calls it because that's in the reason that Alice became sad in that scenario because yeah, they were not understanding each other. And Alice seems to be amplifying here that her adventures in the Wonderland has changed her. She's explaining that to the Gryphon and the turtle, but it seems like it was just becoming a burden for both of the Gryphon and the turtle. However, um, the Gryphon and Mac Turtle pay close attention on it and giving impression of truly caring, but what becomes evident in this case that is they are interested in the story, not in Alice. And they are interested that she can't remember rhymes, not how she feels about the fact they treated her as an object of interest, not a person. So meanwhile, Alice is getting fed up with all these animals telling her what to do. And that's the reason why Alice has became sad on that scenario because it seems like They were just listening to the story because they were interested to the story, not and they were not interested about what Alice is, about what she's what she's kind of person is. That's why like, Alice became sad in this story, or she's got fed up because of what Gryphon and Mac Turtle um, implies with their attitude towards Alice. And yeah, and I would like to call the next representative for the next slide. Thank you.
Hi, this is Brian Santos. So, to shorten the story, though the mock turtle is weeping nearly too hard to communicate, it manages to sob out that Alice has probably never heard of a lobster quadrille. When she acknowledges that she has not, and the mock turtle becomes a vortex of energy. He and the griffon yell out commands while apering widely around. With equal suddenness, they fall and stare mournfully at Alice. Then they dance gravely around her, singing. They ask Alice to recite some lessons for them when the dance is done. She does what she is told, but she uses incorrect words. The mock turtle starts to mourn over turtle soup songs in response to this. Then someone announces the trial has begun in the middle of the song. Rushing Alice away, the griffon grabs her hand. So, next slide, please. So, to interpret the chapter, like many well educated 19th century Englishmen, Lewis Carroll was well versed in natural science and integrated it into his work. The mock turtle is one example of this. Sea turtles seem to weep tears while on shores, while is there a technique of releasing extra salt from their bodies. The mock turtle is typically shown as a tortoise with a calf head to symbolize the usage of veal in a mock turtle soup, an English delicacy. So, from a critical viewpoint, this chapter is weakened by its emphasis on parodies. There's no action other than the quadrille demonstration. Fortunately, the Griffon and the Mock Turtles' hysterical instructions make the moment funny. The quadrille is a complex and a challenging ballroom dance that Alice Liddell and her siblings learn with the help of a teacher. The song Beautiful Soup is based on an actual song called Star of the Evening. Carroll recalls in his journal in 1862 that Alice Liddell and her sister played it for him. The song chorus, beautiful star, star of the evening, beautiful star, proves that it was undoubtedly well worth a parody. In this chapter, Alice had learned from her mistake in chapter 2 when she frightened the mouse by boasting around her cat's mouse skills. She stops herself from telling the mock turtle that she had eaten whiting, and the mock turtle keeps talking, clueless about her actual relationship with the little fish. Next slide, please. So, moral of the chapter. The mock turtle and griffon sang the lobster quadrille tune in this chapter, which caused some misunderstanding. The central theme of the song was the paradoxes of our current world. People want you to join in the life dance, but how are you supposed to learn the movements if no one has ever taught you? So instead, you push headfirst into the action, which might sometimes feel like drowning. It might be frightening at times, but life is complex and learning about it from the sideline is difficult. So instead, we should be cautious about what comes out of our words since it might be the reason why other people feel offended. We should have an open mind to understand what the misunderstanding is so that we can make the necessary adjustment in our surroundings. So that's all for our report. Thank you everyone for listening.
And that concludes our discussion, Chapter 10 of Alice in Wonderland, The Lobster's Quadrille. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you learned a lot.